Ever look at your wife and think, I love her, but I don't really feel her anymore? Like you're still teammates, maybe even, great parents, running the household well, but that spark, that connection that used to pull you together, it's gone. And honestly, you don't really know where it went. And it's like the harder you try to fix it, the worse it gets, the more she tends to pull away, or the more the gap gets a lot larger. Sure, you talk more, you do more, you try harder, but nothing really seems to land. Brother, I get it, because that was me. There was a point when my wife Kate and I were still married, still sharing a home, running a life together. But it felt like we were living these parallel lives. No fights, no drama, just distance. And I realized something. I wasn't really leading my marriage. I was just managing my marriage. And there's a huge difference there. A marriage doesn't die because of lack of love. It dies when no one is leading it forward. So today, I want to show you exactly how to do that, how to actually lead your marriage again. It's a simple framework that I use with all my coaching clients called the Core Four. It's the four things every man must do if he wants to rebuild trust, bring attraction back, and really deepen some of that intimate connection in his marriage. The four parts to it are: first, eliminate what kills connection. Deuce, what adds to the tension or the lack of safety. Raise, what builds trust. And create, what brings life, playfulness, and desire back. Now, stick with me, because this shift can really change things for the better in your marriage. And before we dive in, hit subscribe if you want weekly videos that help you lead yourself, lead your marriage, and really improve the legacy of your family with calm strength and real heart. So first, let's talk about this idea of eliminate. So much of leadership is about letting go. The first step to leading your marriage is knowing what to stop doing. When Kate and I were struggling, I thought being a good husband meant fixing everything, taking care of all our problems. She'd be upset about something with kids or with her work, and I'd jump right in with logic. It's fine. I got it. I'll handle it. Don't worry about it. I thought that was leadership. It wasn't. It was fear. Fear of her emotions. Fear of messing up or being seen as a failure. Fear of not having all the answers. One night, I remember Kate looked at me straight in the eye and she said, "Hey, I don't need you to fix this. I need to know that you're in this with me, no matter what." And that really hit me like a ton of bricks, because I was the fixer. That's what I did. I always engaged and solved problems. But I wasn't really leading in that moment. I was just managing her emotions, managing problems, managing the situations. And that did not lead her to feel safe. Really, that told her that you can't lean on me, because I'm going to frantically go into fix it mode. So I start cutting all those things that came from this belief around fear. Here's what it looked like for me, and probably looks like for you too. I removed fixing, and instead I moved to listening. I stopped avoiding tension to keep the peace. I stopped saying yes when I actually meant no. I stopped over-explaining or defending myself. Every one of those tends to trade respect for my comfort, and comfort kills attraction in marriage. Leadership means standing in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. So here's your move. Write down 3 things you know are killing the connection in your marriage, your ability to lead in your marriage. 3 of them, write them down. And then pick one of those and stop doing it this week. No half measures, cut it out completely, because you can't lead forward if you're still doing what's breaking and eroding trust in a relationship. The second thing is reduce. So this is really about leading with calm instead of control. This one really is about your energy, because leadership in a marriage isn't always about what you say. It's how you show up. It's what you model. When Kate and I get into conflict, I used to go into what's called coach mode. Imagine. I'd start explaining. I'd start rationalizing everything. I'd try to calm her down. I'd use logic. But the truth is, that wasn't really for her. It was for me. I was trying to control the situation to keep myself safe. I remember one argument about money. I raised my voice and I said, "Can you just calm down? We're fine." And she looked at me and said, "I'll calm down when you actually believe that we're fine." That stopped me cold, because in that moment, she was calling me out. She was speaking truth to me. She was feeling me, and she wanted me to be more present in the moment with her, to share my own truth. And that's when I realized that leadership is not about control, it's composure. You can't lead anyone if you can't lead your own nervous system. So I started practicing staying calm in the chaos. I started practicing responding instead of reacting all the time. When my wife had had an emotional experience, I just focused on breathing. When I felt myself get defensive, I just stayed grounded, put my feet to the floor, and asked for her to tell more. Whenever something happened within me, I noticed it, shifted my energy to being grounded, and I decided to open myself up more. That changed everything. Because when I stopped reacting, she finally relaxed. And here's where most men need to reduce this, right? They're reacting too fast when emotions get high. They're expecting her to meet their needs first, right? They're reading into every little tone, every single text. They're mind mapping every situation. And all they're doing is bringing more tension to the situation instead of calm presence. So the next time things get heated, try this. Just pause, breathe through your nose, keep your body still, resist the urge to defend or to explain, and let her see that you're not scared of the storm. You're the lighthouse. You're going to shine brightly here. That's leadership. That's the moment that she starts to trust that strength again. The third thing you want to prioritize is raise. And this is really about leading by example. So once you've cleared the clutter, calm the noise, now you're removed all the stuff that's not working. You've started to respond instead of react. Now it's time to raise your standards, because your marriage will only rise as high as you do. It's a relational ecosystem. And the more you improve, the more the ecosystem improves. And I remember coaching a client in our mastermind. He was a good man, right? He was a great dad. He was hardworking, but he kind of lost his edge, right? I remember him telling me, my wife just doesn't respect me anymore. He was pissed off about it. But when we really unpacked it, we started to realize that he had stopped leading himself a long time ago. He was living on autopilot. He really didn't respect himself, yet he expected his wife to respect him. So what do? We started rebuilding his habits from the ground up. He decided to start working out again. He started writing more about his thoughts. He got up earlier in the morning, started making breakfast for his whole family instead of just scrolling on his phone over coffee. Within weeks, his wife expressed to him, "You just feel different. I can feel you more. You seem to be more present in the family. I like the way you're leading." That's when it clicked. When you lead yourself, she can feel it, and she sees that as leadership. That's being the lighthouse. You stop waiting for her to change, and you start being the change in your relational ecosystem. So here's where you can raise your standards. First, raise your consistency. Be more consistent about showing up strong every day, not just when it's easy. You can raise your emotional strength. You can stay steady when things get hard. You can raise your curiosity. You can ask her about her heart, about her experience, about what the best part of her day was, about what she's looking forward to, not just her schedule. You can raise your appreciation and make her feel seen instead of just helping out. You can raise your courage. You can say what's true, even when it's hard. I remember when Kate told me, "I just don't feel you anymore," I realized she wasn't just talking about romance. She was talking about my energy, my presence, my fire. So I raised my standard for myself. I put my phone down during dinner. I started looking at her in the eye in order to be present with her when she was expressing herself. I made connection with the people I loved a priority. I didn't just show up when it was convenient. That's when trust started to rebuild. So pick one standard to raise this week. Talk about it, embody it, live it, make it part of who you are. Let her feel the difference before you actually tell her about it. The fourth thing you want to prioritize is create. This is about leading with your vision. This is the final step in the core four. It's to create. Because real leadership isn't about just managing problems and keeping everything okay. It's about building possibilities and tapping into your potential. When Kate and I were rebuilding, we were stuck in what I call this fixing mode. We were so obsessed with solving all our problems, which there was a time for that. Every conversation was about what wasn't working. The chores, the kids, the plans that fell through. Finally, I remember saying, what if we stopped trying to fix everything and started creating more of what we wanted? Totally different. So we started small. We started Saturday morning coffee, no phone, no to-do lists, just sitting outside in the sun together, connecting over coffee. Then we added nightly check-ins before bed. 10 minutes to just talk, to touch, to breathe. to bring laughter. Sometimes we felt so connected. Sometimes we just were in each other's presence, just breathing. It brought us back together slowly. It made us feel more connected, more open. Eventually, the affection started coming back. The playfulness started coming back. The sex started getting better. And that's when I learned you don't fix love. You practice it and create it. So here's how to start. Create your ritual, a weekly walk, a coffee date, a bedtime talk. Create playfulness, flirt again, tease again, smile again. Create emotional safety. Make honesty something that draws you closer, not pushes you apart. Create a shared vision. Talk about what you want to build, not just what's wrong and what's not working. So that's your priority this week. Create one new thing that didn't exist last week. It can be small. How you greet her in the morning, a note she can find later on in her day, a question that makes her smile. Creation is how you lead and practice love in your marriage. This is what leadership looks like. It looks like being calm in the storm. It looks like truth over comfort, consistency over convenience, presence over performance. That's how you rebuild her trust. That's how you lead from healthy masculine leadership. That's how you become more confident, more connected, and how you bring more passion to your marriage. And that's how you build legacy for your marriage and for your family. Now, if this landed with you, I have a free resource you can check out. It's called the Reignite Your Marriage Blueprint. You can click below and grab it. It's a series of videos that presents one insight and one skill that you can implement in your marriage that will make a massive difference in the way you lead yourself, lead your marriage, and bring more pleasure, connection, and passion to your connection. So go ahead and grab it, and I'll see you in the next video.